Hello and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Where do we get? Excuse me. Getting started very shortly here with some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. Got to finish up the final from yesterday. Had quite a few great series. Sorry, just getting things arranged here. So, just as a reminder for where we're at from yesterday. Here we are. Whoops, that was a little bit of a rough transition there, but that's fine. So Green One and Noah Face now going to be facing off in the final, both of them prevailing over some veteran players, Romulan Dog and Hadriz, definitely both veteran players, so looking forward to this matchup. Should be a good time. Let's go ahead and throw some more classic Med 2 tunes while we're waiting. Hey, what's up, Rubber Duck? Good to see you. Doom Sage will be back soon. Probably in the first half hour. You may not miss much. I'm guessing they'll probably just be picking their armies and getting stuff arranged, but... Yes. Yes, indeed. So, let's go on over to the live here. Let me just make sure I have everything correctly. Yes, okay, there's that. Bada boom, bada bing. This is how they are in the lobby, right? Yes, okay. Cool. And there we go. Cool. So we got the whole scoreboard set up, and here we are. Can take a look at the pick and bans. Green One going Lizardman, banning Beastman and Skaven. Very strong first pick. Lizardmen really don't have many bad matchups in all right now, so let's see. We're on Northern Chaos Wastes as the map. So some decent terrain to work with, nothing too crazy, just a little bit of a ridge in the center. Yeah. Yeah, just take, missile cav build and just kite him for 10 minutes. That's also a possibility. Yes, yes, yes. Looking good, looking good. Green One, what's up, Mr. Zensky? Yeah, so yesterday was awesome. We had a lot of great games. Helio's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Cypher's here. Green One OP. I know, right, Rubber Duck? He's been killing it lately. Like, just literally killing it. So, I'm pretty stoked. Noah Face was a surprise win over Hadriz yesterday, too. I mean, that was quite a series. Managed to catch Hadriz in a couple of unfavorable matchups. And, man, that second game in particular, that was so close. Green One clawing his way back with the Lizardmen and just prevailing with that solar engine that would not die. Green One's definitely got some stuff to do. This is an interesting one. I do like this from Warriors of Chaos side. It's pretty even, I would say, in terms of a faction matchup. Lizardmen definitely have some really good tools here, but there's some stuff you can do as Warriors of Chaos. I haven't seen in quite some time. It used to be super popular to take Mazdamundi and a Dreadsaurian together and have them buff each other. I guess, yeah. Take tank damage for each other. It used to be super popular against Warriors of Chaos. I don't know now if that is as popular as it used to be, but would like to see some monster play, certainly. Maybe we'll just see Infantry Tide on both sides, but I would think Infantry Tide actually works in the favor of Warriors of Chaos more. But, yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. Yes. Looks like Noah Face is ready to go. Green One taking his time, thinking through his army composition. Hey, what's up, Eldrin of the Mist? to see ya. Welcome, welcome. I will have a regular battle replay coming out tonight as well, probably in like 4 hours, 5 hours. I know a lot of you are going to be asleep by then, but yeah. This was not intended to be for today, so I do have a video ready to go for today, but hang on one sec, guys. I'll be right back. A wild Krokar pick might not be too bad. A Krokar, especially now, like if you take a Rev Crystal and an Oracle, you can get away with using Krokar a lot more aggressively because you can actually heal him a pretty decent amount. Yes, looks like they're getting started, so let's get to it. A little ham-fisted on the music there, but that's fine. Krokar used to be super, super strong back when everyone could give him cold-blooded healing, but yeah, now it's a little bit trickier to use. Oracle definitely synergizes well with him, but let's see how they do. Central Chaos Waste. Looking very plain, it must be said, compared to some of the stuff we've seen for Game 3. But no less cool, must be said. Very basic, sort of Chaos Waste-looking place, but it is what it is. Better than the Nurgle Waste, the Central Chaos Waste. Anyway, let's get to army compositions real quick here. Starting on Noah Face with Archaon the Everchosen. Great pick in this matchup. I'm a big fan of him here. A mix of warriors with great weapons. We've got Mirror Guard, warriors with halberds as well. So it's a little bit of anti-Saurus, a little bit of anti-monster. Some Warhounds here, throwing axes. Yeah, fairly basic build. Not a lot of heroes besides Archaon. Normally I would go with 2 Exalted Heroes here as well, but see if Archaon can handle it. We do have a wild Mazdamundi pick. Haven't seen Mazdamundi. You know, he kind of goes in and out of style. He's always going to be super strong, but got some clever girls to back it up. Go after hounds, a couple of Razor Dawns, 3 Razor Dawns, 4 Razor Dawns. Holy cow. So the green one going all in for a kite build, it would seem. Going to try and use the anti-armor ranged units here that he has access to. Skin cohort with Javs. We've got 1 Arc of Sotek as well for some additional anti-infantry damage, but you know, I actually really like the pick of Razor Dawns here. It's not a unit you see a ton. I do think they're much better than what people give them credit for. Amexon Barbs are basically useless as an ROR because their ability is wasted, right? But the rest of them are quite nice. I think the Amexon Barbs actually do get missile resistance as well, if I'm not mistaken, but you don't see these guys often enough, in my opinion. Very, very cool. Razor Dawns ready to go. Man, they're like pretty well camouflaged into this landscape. Like, look at this. This could be their literal natural habitat. Look at that. They fit in so well here. A little red on their spikes too, even. Did you know Razor Dawns are native to the Chaos Waste? I didn't. Definitely looks like they are though. Main purpose of monstrous infantry, it depends a lot on the role of the monstrous infantry, right? That's like saying what's the purpose of infantry. Different monstrous infantry are used for different things. The biggest factor is speed. Some monstrous infantry are fast enough to keep up with heavy cavalry, and therefore can be used as, in a way, heavy cavalry. Stuff like rat ogres, or you know, skin wolves, stuff like that. Minotaurs, the faster monstrous infantry can definitely be used in more of like a cavalry type role. They're great for tanking in the case of like, you know, the crabs or the trees. Anyway, Green One's going to be moving forward now. I do think that his army composition gives him a pretty distinct advantage here. Noah Face is going to have to use these Marauder Horsemen pretty aggressively, but the Razordons will do some pretty impressive damage. I mean, the Mirror Guard getting a missile block chance will help them a little bit as they kind of push forward here. Green one probably wants to fire into the great weapons or the halberds if he can, but damage will start to tell here, even on the Mirror Guard with their silver shields. Literal silver shields. Yeah, overloading one unit, one side with speed units is a good idea. You just have to strengthen the other flank, or else position the other flank in such a way that it will at least take time to die, right? Anyway, Archaon coming through. He's going to get a net here. Ooh, dropping a big piercing bolts of burning. Big overcast. That might have been a waste, but let's see how many of the missiles actually make contact with Mazdamundi here, if any. I mean, it wasn't a complete waste, because Mazdamundi did take some damage there, actually. But now Archaon's in a very bad position. He's going to be getting shot in the back by the Razordons, while also getting attacked in the face by Mazdamundi. So, Slayer of Kings, Standard Die is active. That will help in this duel, but that's not going to help at all against the spines in the spine. Directly to... I don't even know if Archaon has a nerve column, but let's just go with it. He's just taking all of the damage directly there. That is absolutely devastating. Archaon's a super expensive character to have taken all that damage early on, but let's see. Lizard Cavalry pushing forward, trying to break up some of these infantry here. There was a Sneck drop that came in as well, so a great pocket for the Lizardmen to try and claim victory here. Mazdamundi's got to be careful not to overextend too much. The Warriors of Chaos are winning out on this flank here. They're starting to push forward, pressure these Razordons away. Definitely just detaching the Marauders to kind of chase the Razordons around is not a terrible idea. Likewise, Mazdamundi sitting here going to be taking throwing axes, going to be taking great weapon attacks, all of which deal pretty good armor-piercing damage. So the initial sort of hits on Archaon are important, but let's see if he just hangs back now, tries to play off of his infantry. Should still be able to get some work done, but the Razordons are definitely going to be a problem. The Hounds, especially, being routed off so early on in the battle, not able to like come in, you know, after a lot of units have broken. Like, had they been held in reserve here, they could have possibly come back and pressured through some of these gaps to try and get back and at least tie down the Razordons, even if the Razordons end up beating them in combat. But right now, the Warriors of Chaos are just in a rough situation where they're going to have to come forward and kind of grind through a lot of this. But Ark of Sotek definitely taking some damage here. The great weapons turn to it. Throwing axes also turn to it, so Mazdamundi too far away. This realistically should be focusing his healing on himself. It means most likely the Ark of Sotek. Ooh, but a nice Snick drop. That'll probably finish off the Warriors with great weapons here. The halberds also, and a banishment too, so just going all in on the AoE kind of finisher here. Archaon runs briefly in and out of there and will take a few damage ticks from that little DPS effect. Nothing too much, but it is something, certainly. Have to be careful about that, and yeah, the Warriors of Chaos still have plenty of mobile units left to try and pressure back in here. Bounce power is certainly not out of grasp, but Mazdamundi, the burst damage... whether or not Chaos has the burst damage to deal with Mazdamundi in this late game is questionable, but let's see. Let's see what they can do here. Ark of Sotek is gone. Hounds are coming in, pressuring some of these skinks. But really, I would think that the Marauder Horsemen could even just charge in. I mean, the Razordons' stats are not... I guess the Horsemen stats are not that much better than the Razordons. And given the armor, I would just think the Razordons have such low HP per model, and overall as a unit have much lower HP. I would think that the Horsemen could probably take them in melee because of that. But we'll see. Ooh, man, these Razordons, again, being subjected to some piercing bolts of burning, does do some damage to the Marauder Horsemen as well, but that one did actually get some pretty decent contact there. So, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, using the Hounds and Horsemen in tandem, pressure these Razordons and route them away. The Mirror Guard also just relentless at this point, pushing forward. Still got some more Cold One Spear Riders trying to get at these Marauder Horsemen, but the Halberds will be able to block them, maybe tear down a few more unit models. So it's not looking great for Warriors of Chaos, but it's not looking completely out of reach. The Ark of Sotek here is going to finish off the Mirror Guard, which will be fantastic for them. Yeah, Razordons now actually just taking the initiative to charge the Horsemen. I mean, Razordons do have 20 charge bonus, so that's actually not arguably the worst idea in the world is just to directly countercharge there. Mazdamundi this whole time is just healing himself as well, and the Warriors of Chaos are definitely running out of steam with which to finish off Mazdamundi. Ruination of Cities coming in here on these netted horsemen. Finishes off a good number of them and routs the unit, even though they're still netted. Archaon's here fighting, trying to finish off another unit of Razordons. The Razordons eventually will be taken down. I think it's just a little bit too late. For Noah Face, needed to try and get them on a little bit earlier on, I think. Get on them. Get them on. Whatever. You know what I mean. Chaos does have the high ground, technically, yes. But a lot of those units are routing. Mazdamundi has the high magic, right? So what's better, ground or magic? Yeah, this Apotheosis here sustaining Mazdamundi very critically in this late game. Still plenty of Razordons left as well, and it looks like they get a beat on Archaon and finish him off. Just about. Technically still alive, but this unit could probably come in and actually finish him. And I think that probably is game. Yep, looks like the Warriors of Chaos are very quickly approaching army losses. Yeah, the high ground actually does, in Total War Warhammer, does make a pretty significant difference. It affects weapon strength and missile strength, and vigor is a big one too. Fighting uphill is gives you huge vigor penalties in comparison to fighting downhill. The other thing too is with charges, the way collision damage is calculated, if a unit gets thrown far enough on a charge, it will take extra collision damage. So sometimes just the physics of how the hills work, you can actually throw a unit all the way down the hill and they'll take additional damage. Which is why sometimes it feels like it increases charge bonus. But great job by both players, honestly. Noah Face, good attempt. I think just barely falling a tiny bit short in a couple of circumstances. The Horsemen were definitely a strong play here, and they all paid for themselves. The Hounds also. You know, one of them, 169 kills, 700 damage value. That's really what you would want to see. If these other two have been used a little bit more conservatively on the initial phase, like instead of having Archaon go after the monsters there, have him maybe hang back and support counter-cavalry operations against these Spear Riders, so that your own mobile units can then go to work against the hunting packs. And then once you isolate Mazdamundi in the late game, then, you know, Archaon plus infantry support with maybe a few remaining throwing axes should be able to take him down. But great game to both players. Credit to Green One here, using his hunting packs quite well. Nice to see them in such numbers in this matchup, along with the Ark of Sotek, super cost effective. Cold One Spear Riders are okay. They honestly probably could be regular Cold One Riders here for more cost efficiency, but Skink Line did enough. I mean, didn't really do a lot, but it did enough. The Skink Skirmishers certainly very cost effective with their blowpipes. So, fun game. GG's indeed. Definitely White Lions are the best in melee. The Razordons have very low HP. It's their biggest problem. Like, their stats on paper look nice until you look at their HP, and then you're like, oh, these guys will die instantly to almost anything. So, yeah, the Lions, out of the ones that you listed, probably the Lions are the best in combat. The Beastmen Pig Herds are good. They're universally pretty useful, and they're a little bit cheaper than the Lions, but the Lions as a pure combatant, I think, are actually better. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the next map. We've got Central Chaos Waste now, so that's the green one. Noah Face going greenskins, banning Vampire Counts and Vampire Pirates. Green one responds with Beastmen, so... Oh no, this isn't the green one, that's right, this is the one with the hill. Southern Chaos Waste is the green one, that's right. All coming back to me. Yeah, they do kind of have different purposes, it's true, that's a good point by Black Feathers here. Mazda Chungi, yeah, Mazda is too thick on his high magic over there, just getting reefed. Fun times. Fun times. Let's get some music going as they get their picks locked in. We'll wait for the pick and bans. There we go. Oh, we already got the picks and bans. Sorry, they're just picking their armies. That's right. Greenskins versus Beastmen. Fun matchup. Very bloody one. Greenskins Missile Cav is super strong here. And certain units, like Grom, is tough to deal with, but you know who can deal with him? Torox. Korok's very scary. And even Malagor can be scary here to a degree as well, just because the greenskins don't have flying units, really. Malagor can be very safe up in the air, just doing whatever he needs to do. This Flock of Doom's not quite as broken as it was before. Maybe he's not actually that good. I wish they had let him keep Viletide plus Flock of Doom. I really think it'd be better than Devolve. Devolve's kind of useless for him, in my opinion. Viletide would have been really nice, because if you could take Viletide plus Flock of Doom, then you would just, spam those 2 spells on cooldown, basically, to get as much damage out as possible, and then suddenly he gets to be a great DPS Lord. What does he have? Does he have Brace Scream? I have to look. I don't remember, actually, what his kit is, but... Or maybe he doesn't have Devolve. Maybe he has Enfeebling Foe, which is nice. I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest, guys. But Crowfather would be nice. Really interesting to see the Old World Chaos rework in Warhammer 3. I agree. The Chaos Undivided Warriors, I'm hopeful and very curious to see what they do for them. Also, the fact that so much of the Old World is in the Game 3 combined map does give me hope. A lot of people were complaining, like, oh, there's way too much space in the Chaos Waste. My thinking on that was, like, there's lots of space for expeditions. Let's say in the sort of northern Chaos Waste areas, because given how few factions actually have landmass, we have the Empire. Maybe Sylvania will get sneaked in on the edge there. Dwarfs, Greenskins could make the cut as well. Bretonia, I don't think so. It doesn't look like Bretonia's in the map at all. So like, what are they going to do to add Bretonia, if they do, to the combined map like they did for Rapunzel? They've got to make an expedition, right? Or High Elves. I guess High Elves, Dark Elves, Skaven, all could be kind of in that corner where, like, Malice and Snitch and everyone start, right? Imric. Those 3 are all down there. Skaven are everywhere, so that's not really an issue. I think Tretch's home is technically in the Game 3 map, so maybe Tretch will make an appearance. Lizardmen is an interesting one. Maybe, I mean, technically those Dragon Isles do have Lizardmen living at them, right? So maybe you could put Lizardmen down there, maybe put Krokgar there or something. Nakai is a Wanderer, so he can go wherever, technically, right? You could just stick him in the wastes somewhere, but what's his name? Oxyotl, likewise, also could go up in the Northern Realms somewhere. Basically, what I guess my point is that all of that space can be filled in with non-chaos factions. It's not like it has to be, only like Norska / Warriors of Chaos / Demons factions up there. You can definitely spice in some other stuff, as they have done. So. Yes, it'll be interesting to see how all of that works, and sort of what factions. It'd be awesome to have all of the combined map, all of the Game 2 base factions, Vortex factions on the Game 3 sort of focused map. Like, right now for Game 2, I think the only faction that's not playable is Vampire Counts, right? On the Vortex, because Thorax on the Vortex, Grom, Wolfheart, Rapunzel, Sisters of Twilight, Taurox. So, unless I'm missing something, Vampire Counts are the only ones currently not playable on the Vortex, right? Am I missing a faction? Norska, I guess, yeah, I miss Norska. Sad Norska, everyone misses them. Okay, so I guess Norska and Vampire Counts are not, but, like, they've sort of set the pattern that as many factions as possible are going to be playable in that focused map, so I do hope that trend continues. Yeah, Beastmen invading Chaos Realms is going to be interesting. Warriors of Chaos, like, could you imagine Archaon going in to teach the Chaos Gods a lesson? Like, no. No, you don't understand. I'm not just the Ever-Chosen. I am Chaos. Yeah, Old World Chaos is nomadic, exactly. And they could put them anywhere, so... Archaon might still be a horde, honestly, but I could see them doing, like, maybe Kolek as a settled faction. Sigvald will probably go to Slanesh. Orska. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, let's talk about builds here. We'll start with the green one this time on the Beastmen. Torok's Brass Bull leading the way. He's got a Bracium and Laura Wild here. 3 Ungor Spearman herds. 1 Ungor herd, 2 regular Ungor herds. A couple of Raiders, some Centigors. 2 Tuskor Chariots, Poison Warhounds, and a Jabberslythe. So a super wide build here. The Jabberslythe in particular is great. Greenskin's low leadership means they're very likely to take a lot of damage from this Aura of Madness Mortis effect, which only affects units which are lower than 50% leadership. So the Fear and Terror will help in that regard. We've got just Traderkin here. Go after light cavalry and other low model count units like Stone Trolls. On the Greenskin side, we do have quite a bit of skirmish cavalry, Mangy Marauders, Spider Rider Archers. Looks like some Boar Boys in the back, just regular Boar Boys. Got 8-Peak Loons, Savage Biggins through the center, Gobos, Grom, and a River Troll Hag, as is tradition. Got our fish bag here, ready to go. It's funny because it's true, right? Yeah, you're correct. Sad monkey Norska. Yes. Yes. Let's take a look here. The Neckbeard boys ready to go. Got their spears out. So just a giant wide attack here from the Beastmen. You can see immediately Noah Face is taking time to assess the situation, try and figure out the best plan of attack here. A lot of melee units, a lot of melee infantry units. So, like on the Greenskin side here, what I would want to do is come forward, start kind of picking away. The Mangy Marauders, their armor piercing, I would probably just literally detach them, put them in a whole separate control group, and keep them in the back only to shoot at Toroks, because you don't have a lot of, armor piercing missiles here. The Boar Boys are going to get discovered there by the Poison Hounds. Poison Hounds are kind of chilling around, but yeah, with the Spider Riders, I would just come forward. You can pretty much pick at whatever units with them. The Ungor Spearman Herd don't have a missile block chance. You can pick at them. Poisoning, picking at these Tuskor Chariots, also pretty valid. They're 80 armor. You don't want to just necessarily take the charge to the face. You want to try and countercharge if you can, but let's see. Centigors are going to be pulling away these Boar Boys. Really, the Boar Boys should get a charge here into the Tuskor Chariots. Oh, man. Instead, they're going to allow the Tuskor Chariots to just get a head first charge into the Savage Orc Biggins, which doesn't do that much damage. And actually, once the Savage Orc Biggins stand up and a couple of the chariots get trapped up in here, they're going to take significant damage. So maybe it wasn't the end of the world anyway to just eat that charge to the face. Here comes the Jabber. Boom, big land right on those Gobos, and the Savage Orcs are not going to like that in terms of their leadership. Actually, they're doing just fine. So a little bit of a risky dive here for Toroks. He's got Brass Body active, but you can see the drain does kick in for the Spider Riders, and then they immediately get terrified. Here comes Grom charging back in, so a lot of value concentrated, even though the battlefield's pretty wide here. This fight's going to be pretty important. Grom charges straight into Toroks. Toroks has got Brass Body active, but we've also got Boar Boys supporting in here now. The Savage Orc Biggins did eventually get terrified, but I guess that's a bit of an issue with the Jabberslythe. Although it's going to do a lot of damage here because of the low leadership, it will also terrify units pretty easily, which means they'll just run away out of the area of effect. But a nasty Traderkin comes in here. That's going to deal with those Boar Boys, deal with some of the Biggins as well. Beastmen attacking on this flank here, just keeping these units routed. The Spider Riders, Wolf Rider Archers trying their best to stem the tide, the Beast Tide, but Chariots getting charges into Gobos, kind of an ideal target for them. Savage Orc Biggins just kind of hanging back for the time being. Yeah, Grom had to pull away there, and now getting a little bit caught up. Bray Scream, or sorry, no, that's not Bray Scream. Was that Bray Scream? That was a very treacherous Bray Scream if it was. Basically just helped Grom escape there. And there's, no, sorry, Headbutt. I was going to say, I think there's an Orc Shaman here. Yeah, that looked more like a Headbutt, so that makes sense. Nice little bailout for Grom there. He's able to escape to live to fight another day. Again, the Savage Orc Biggins, you might think they'll do a lot of damage to the Jabberslythe, but as soon as their leadership starts to drop, they're getting attacked from multiple angles here. They'll get drained. It's really not a great situation for them at all. So, Greenskin's already looking to be behind the curve a little bit here. Of course, they do have plenty of units which can regenerate and come back and still win the fight. I mean, as long as Grom, the fat boy, is still singing, there's not a lot they can do. But, ooh, this is dangerous. Yeah, the Orc Shaman just getting bullied. Get it? Bullied? By Taurox here. Taurox literally just playing with him. Oop, but we've got a Wah. And we've got some kind of spell. I must have missed that. Probably another Headbutt there going off. Or, yeah, something. But Grom's going to charge back in, try and use that 90 charge bonus to good effect. The Grayton is here for extra melee attack and weapon damage. While Wah is active, he's up to 625 weapon strength, but he just gets punched in the face. I mean, Taurox does not care. Grom is taking the south end of that engagement in a big hurry. So he's going to have to pull away there. Spider Rider Archers, again, trying to hold, but just the Beastman Assault here, so relentless. And there's a Brain Burster. Help break up the Raiders there, but just there hasn't really been an effective answer to the Jabberslythe. You know, Noah Face's resources been busy dealing with other targets that are threatening enough that he can't really allocate a lot of resources to actually finish the Jabberslythe, and it is slowly but surely eating up his army. Oh no, this is bad as well. The Troll Hag getting caught out by Taurox and the Bray Shaman. And there it is. It should be pretty close to army losses, I would think. Yeah, Grom's still holding on for the time being. It's looking pretty hopeless. Ogre King is Grom's brother from another mother. Oh, I know, right? Like, you thought Grom was fat? You thought, well, it's like Throt, then Grom, then Greasus Goldtooth, right? In order of fatness. Sort of the evolution of thickness. Where would Mazdamundi fit on that scale, though, is my question. And the Slans in general. They're fatter than... They are fatter than Grom, to be honest. Even though Grom is the fattest goblin that ever lived, the Slan are still fatter than him. So you know what, actually, I guess it would go Throt the Unclean, then Grom the Paunch, then the Slans, including Mazdamundi, being the thickest of all. And Greasus Goldtooth does appear to be actually thicker than a Slan, so I think Greasus is the fattest. Yeah, right? Yeah, these two are two very meta factions right now. Noah Face played it about as well as he could, but that was a really nasty build from Green One here. I mean, a lot of mobility pressure. The Chariots are threatening the Greenskin's infantry just enough that they have to worry about them, but the Jabberslythe coming in 1500 value as well. Super, super clutch. So let me go to the next map here. Cliff of Beasts. Another Chaos Waste map. Let's see if Noah can stem the tide. Yes, Green One now will pick in single ban for this upcoming game. 15 speed, mammoth health per model count, and 3 types of regen. Yeah, probably. I'm guessing that will be sort of Nurgle's deal. I mean, we've already seen Lore of Nurgle will give healing, so I'm really hoping that Norska and Warriors of Chaos get that. Oh, speaking of Norska, Green One going Norska, banning vampire counts. Ooh, so many possibilities. In terms of what Noah Face still has, he could go Lizardman here, I guess. That's not a terrible. Empire is also quite a strong one here if you can play it right, although it's even, I would say, in terms of a general sense. It could go Dwarven Gyro Cheese, but again, that can be tricky. Oh, score. I should have updated the score a while ago. That's my apologies. Thanks for reminding me. It is actually now 2-0 for the Green One. I failed to update it after the first game, so there you go. Lizardman. Okay, so Noah Face does go Lizardman. It's an interesting one. Lizards can do a lot here. Lizards can do a lot in a lot of matchups, but Norska being the Monster Hunter faction does mean that they're good against monsters in general. I mean, obviously, but the Lizardman monsters especially can have a tough time in this matchup. So generally, you see wide Lizardman builds here with a lot of skirmish, a lot of shooting to try and drag Norska down. Since they don't really like that attrition game, they're somewhat weak to kite. Although on the flip side, sometimes you see very kind of focused, fast attack builds for Norska that can take out big hurry and just kind of, you know, run chaos on the poor lizard folk. So let's see what they can do here. Taurox plus speed and chaff, and then your one kind of tech monster, right? That's good specifically against low leadership. Greenskins are low leadership, so there you go. Mr. Screamer. Yes, Screamer Face. The Screamer Face is my soulmate, or my spirit animal. Like, just the face that the Screamers have, like, Nurgle unit roster better have some form of Mortis engine. I'd imagine they probably will. Unfortunately, as much as I don't like Mortis engine effects, I mean, the Jabber Slice is okay because it's leadership conditional, and the Jabber Slice is a monster. It's good, but it's not amazing. I would like, without the Mortis effect, it's kind of like a middle of the pack monster. Like, it's got a lot going for it, but it's not incredible. But where was I going with this? Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Mortis effects in general. Like, the Fey Enchantresses, I think, could be completely reworked and completely changed. I think really the only unit that should have it as it currently is the Mortis engine, and by extension, Helmengorst. But I think, like, the Plague Furnace should probably have a slightly different function, like maybe, you know, not deal as much damage, but have some kind of a debuff component in there. I think the Fey Enchantresses should be just purely a debuff, I think, and then give her an additional area of effect damage ability or of some kind. I don't know, or maybe make Comet not as bad. If you make the wind-up time for Comet a lot faster, then that would be better, but anyway. The green one better be the first to play a Nurgle army in your tournament. I know, right? With a name like that, he's got to. I don't know how he hasn't played Wood Elves yet either. I don't know, maybe he didn't like Wood Elves. It's just the name, right? I feel like I've seen Green One play only a couple of times before. Like, I'm not super familiar with him as a player. Noah Face, I think, is relatively new also, but fun to see these guys clash. Seems like the Green One's definitely in a good place. Like, I know he's been around. I just haven't actually got to see too many of his games recently. I think, like, Rubber Duck of War, I don't know if you're still around, but I think he's prevailed in some of your tournaments recently, if I remember correctly. Like, he's definitely been getting some good experience, so I didn't want to say anything beforehand, but I did kind of... I would have put the odds on Green One. I think Noah played his heart out yesterday against Hadris and definitely has played well here today, but yeah, we'll see if he can claw his way back. Lizardman will give it the old college try here. We've got some Pterodons, 3 Pterodons, a bunch of Stalkers, and Oxyotl, Saurus Scarvet, Skink of Heavens. Yeah, some Clever Girls. We got, Cold One Riders, actually, and some Saurus Warriors. Saurus Spears can be pretty good in this matchup as well. Especially given the build that Norska took. This is what I was talking about in terms of fast attack builds. They can cut through skinks very quickly. You've got the chariots to ride down any light mass infantry. I noticed Green One is a fan of chariots, especially the cheap chariots right now, which I have to say, a man of my own heart, a true disciple of Sirtha Ek. The Marauder chariots, the Chaos chariots, the new ones, Tuskors, that's right. Why do I always forget the name? Tuskor chariots for beastmen are awesome, but you should not forget about the other cheap chariots available for other factions as well. Marauder chariots are a fantastic addition. Rotfly's Mortis Engine effect combined with multiple stages thing could increase damage longer someone stays in it for Nurgle. Yeah, it would incentivize you to kind of cycle charge and not just sit and fight Nurgle, which is, like, I'm guessing Nurgle will be the best in sustained combat, like in terms of grind. Khorne, based on what we've already seen, is just going to be by far the most aggressive and sort of damaging. Like, they'll just be nasty to fight in melee, but Nurgle will be nasty in a different way to fight in melee. What about constant AoE of 40 meters that applies poison? Well, I mean, you're talking about any lizardman monster has a Howdah, which basically does the same thing. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't completely hate that. For like the Plague Furnace, for example. Maybe do less damage, but then also have an AoE poison effect. Yeah. Maybe certain units can be immune to Mortis effects. Yeah, and like spell resistance. I mean, I guess magic resistance already does help against the Mortis effects, but yeah, it's just not the most interesting gameplay mechanic in the world. See what they can do, though. There are no Mortis effects on either side here. There's not even a lot of Lizardman monsters to provide that AoE poison, so just Oxyotl and the Pterodons for poison. Seems a bit odd. I mean, I guess the Stalkers in melee will also deal poison damage, right? Let's see. Double Manticores, Wolfric on horseback. We've got the Marauder chariots, Marauder infantry, Marauder horse masters. So again, wide attack build. The Ice Wolves provide a nice fast attack option to ride down skinks as well. We'll see. I do think they trade pretty well into Cold One Riders because they have the same model count, actually. Wow, I never realized that, but actually it does make sense when I stop and think about it. Yeah, I mean, the 42 weapon strength is enough that they can still deal damage to the armor here. And like Cold One Riders, the stats are not... I mean, I guess the stats on Ice Wolves are not really that good either, but we'll see. Stalkers getting some volleys in here. They're going to have to run away from those chariots, but they could do some nice damage in the meantime. Looks like they did get some contact on the Manticore. They got some contact on the chariots. Let's see, Javelins throwing in at the Pterodons. The other Pterodons are having to run from a Manticore, but that does pull the Manticore away from this fight, which is actually, in and of itself, could be quite useful. Norska kind of hanging back for the minute, not wanting to just YOLO directly in, but they definitely want to take as many melee engagements as they can. Not be subjected to the missiles of the Lizardmen too much, but a nice buff in here, and Wolfric once again just getting absolutely canned as Harmonic Convergence on the Saurus Scarvet comes in here. He's going to just administer an absolute beatdown. Wolfric the Wanderer, nice boat in response though, does some good damage to the Saurus and the Stalkers, but more than half HP gone for Wolfric already. As with what we saw yesterday. Let's see. Stalkers getting some nice volleys here, counteracting those Horse Masters. They definitely get good value from those precursor volleys, but the Chariots over on this side helping to break up this flank. The Saurus Scarvet did get a really nice engagement there, but now Hunter of Champions, he did pop his Potion of Strength, which is unfortunate because Wolfric is now out of that range for him to use it, but Cold One Riders moving in. They're going to try and go after the Chariots, I would imagine, try and stop them up. But the Ice Wolves also coming through. The Saurus trying to hold out. Scarvet's also getting frostbited and just kind of pinned down there. Let's see. Ice Wolves over here doing a good job going after the Stalkers. That will pay for themselves, pretty much just eating the Stalkers, so that's great. The Javelin Horsemen also sitting pretty. Oxyotl, likewise, also sitting pretty. Downtown, just like Charlie Brown shooting in, doing some nice damage to these Chariots. The Chariots have almost been shut down, which is pretty important here for the survival of the Lizardman infantry. I mean, I guess we've still got these two units here, right? So this other unit has been routed, might come back. But the Manticore is just chasing Pterodons until the end of days. May end up being a pretty significant mistake. We'll see. It does mean that the Pterodons weren't able to drop rocks or apply poison to a lot of this stuff while it's been fighting here, which is nice. You know, you're not getting the weapon strength debuffs during actual melee combat, but Clever Girls and Stalkers combining to poison the chariots. Oxyotl takes down a model there. Nice armor-piercing damage from the Cold One Riders. They're going to finish off this unit, probably finish off the next unit. A couple of spiteful little blowpipes from the Stalkers, too. But here comes the Manticores. They're going to start to make a difference now as they come to support these various engagements. Will it end up being too late? Hard to say. The Saurus pound the Marauders into bits. And it looks like the thing has kind of got turned around here for the Scarvet. Took a Plague of Rust down to 40 armor, to quite a bit of damage from the Shaman Sorcerer, and now here comes Wulfric as well. Hunter of Champions popped. He gets his... the Scarvet's going to get some Cold One Riders to support, and now pull away from there. So just get rid of the uptime of those two effects. And, I mean, he was at, what, very low armor. 0 armor, actually. Or 10 armor, rather. So nice attempt by Wulfric to get some synergy there and get that Sword of Torgald really in action. But Saurus Scarvet able to avoid, thankfully. Piercing Bolts, Searing Doom going to come down on these Saurus Warriors. Nice targeting and placement. Beautiful timing, actually, as well, to get full impact on that unit. But Lizardmen are looking okay so far. They've managed to clean up this peripheral back area here. The caster did get routed by a Manticore, but he should be able to come back. Oxyotl still got plenty of ammunition left as well. And Norska's starting to run a little thin on the ground, so to speak. I mean, they're obviously all ground units, but it's figure of speech. The Horsemen and Horsemasters are really the only super healthy units remaining, which is, you know, something. Swing and a miss there with that boat. And a miscast on an overcast Plague of Rust on the Scarvet once again does deal some damage to the Shaman Sorcerer, but it will allow those Javelins to now come in and probably finish off that Scarvet. Huge amount of burst damage, just massive missile damage overall from the Marauder Horsemen. So, yeah, that Scarvet's definitely having a pretty bad time. That synergy is very strong against Lizardman monsters also, but there, you know, aren't any. So Manticore is eventually getting dragged down by Saurus here, as the Chariots are as well. Balance power slightly in the Lizardman's favor, so Noah might be able to bring this back and get back in this series with this game. I don't want to call it too early, but Oxyotl definitely looking quite solid still. Hey, what's up, Emperor? Thanks for stopping by. Good luck at work. Appreciate you, man. Yes. Anyway, Oxyotl now potentially getting soloed out here. He does get caught by some Marauder Horsemen, but he should be fine fighting for a brief moment as those Saurus come to reinforce. The rest of the army here, this Manticore quite low. The other Manticore did take significant damage getting kited by those Pterodon Riders. Pterodon Riders also can still come back and start to contribute. I mean, there's another unit of Pterodons over here as well that just got noticed. So those two Pterodon units by themselves could probably come in and finish Wulfric and the Manticore. And with the drop rocks, probably finish off all the Horsemasters as well. But let's see. Oxyotl still has something to say for it. More than half of his ammunition left. Oxyotl is just so strong. In a situation where you can keep him out of danger, like here. Oh, here come the Horsemasters, though. Honestly, Oxyotl probably could just be set to fire at will, but at this point he's coming forward to try and deal damage to these single entities, which makes sense. With his scaling damage, he will be able to punch pretty hard, but he's got to be careful. Doesn't want to get too exposed here and get caught necessarily. A nice little wind blast from the returned Skink Priest of Heavens. But, yeah, the Manticore rising up into the sky to fight the Pterodons. Probably just get routed, honestly. Oxyotl may be in trouble here, though. The Saurus are probably going to get routed, not be able to support him. Pterodons are in a position to support, but suddenly Norska looks like they may be turning things around. A lot of the Lizardman support units just kind of evaporate as the Pterodons are not quite in position. Oh no, here comes Wulfric. This is potential for disaster. A huge hit. Sword of Torgald, not even active, but just Hunter of Champions. And Oxyotl with 0 armor takes the full brunt of that 490 weapon strength directly to the face. And that is suddenly a huge turnaround for Norska. I mentioned Oxyotl's good as long as you can keep him safe, but very quickly the support units evaporate. And I thought for sure Lizardman had that one in the bag. As I said, I didn't want to call it too early, but Oxyotl just gets completely destroyed by Wulfric. He's actually probably going to get killed here. We'll see. Yep, looks like Noah's going to throw in the towel. So that was, he almost had it there. That was very, very close. I think if he had noticed that other pterodon just a tiny bit sooner, maybe could have brought it in, got some additional routes. It's hard to say, but great job by both players. Super, super close there. Both of them kind of having some really nice plays, some minor mistakes, but hey, it's a close game at the end of the day. Manticore and Wolfbrick just able to get rid of the support, get Oxyotl caught out, and finish him off, and that was all they needed to do, basically. So Green One will then take the series in the final qualifier spot. The final will be hosted probably not this weekend, but the following weekend. And I will, yeah, I'll probably have the 4 players play the battles offline and then just cast the replays, but we'll have to see. But definitely keep your eyes tuned for that. I'll probably have just a one-off Flash tournament this upcoming week for North America, Australia, East Asia time zone once again. We'll probably start even an hour after I started this last time, but thank you all so much for coming out. It's been an absolute pleasure. That will be victory. So if we go ahead and switch on over to the bracket here, Green One has prevailed, moves on to the final. So just as a reminder, the other qualifiers victors, let's pull that up here. There was Void Lulz, who won, I believe, Alric Rao won the first. Void Lulz, I believe, won the second. Yes, and then number 3 was won by Ice Power, and now the Green One wins number 4. So the Green One, Ice Power, Void Lulz, and Alric, possibly. I don't know if Alric is still active. He may have taken a break from the game. If that's the case, then Dactor was his runner-up. He will fill in as the number 1 spot. But those 4 players will be facing off soon in the grand final, so be sure to tune in for that. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. You guys are the best, so thank you.